Greetings, everyone. You are tuned into episode 39 of the Trust and Believe Nomad Cast. I'm your host, Mr. Anderson. Thank you for tuning in today on the 8th of December, 2021. All right, so for my opening remarks today, I want to talk about taking care of yourself. I've talked about this in many episodes ago, talking about cholesterol and proper stretching and techniques and all that. So I have an appointment this afternoon regarding my heel. For the last couple of weeks, I've been experiencing large volumes of pain in my right heel. Now, I attribute that to a lot of things. My lifestyle changed since I've been retired. I would think a lot of that is probably based on my career, the physical activity and all that, constantly standing, moving, so on and so forth. So I'm going to see the doctor today at the VA this afternoon and get some recommendations. Hopefully they, schedule me for an x-ray and all that. But I'm saying all that to say everything that we've done in the past, physically, even mentally for that matter, it comes back to bite you in a good way, in a bad way. And I think, again, a lot of all these years, of service, I'm starting to feel pains. I'm in pain every day, right? I can just hide it very well. But I notice, like, after I work out in the morning, especially after I get out the shower and my muscles and kind of relaxed a little bit, I feel pain. It's like walking up and down the stairs, I feel pain. Cooking and just doing regular household stuff. Sometimes just sitting driving for long periods of time, just experiencing pain. And, you taking the medications and you do all this and, and I know a lot of that is also on me because I'm not a stretcher. I got to really start stretching my body. I got one of those personal saunas. I sit in there and kind of let my muscles relax for like 40 minutes. But the pain is just, sometimes it kind of gets unbearable. So that's why I say, let me just go ahead and, my wife is always on me. Make these appointments. Take care of yourself. You spend all these years taking care of the family and taking care of soldiers and all that. Now it's time to start taking care of yourself. So that's what I'm going to do. Start taking care of myself and getting this thing together because my heel is really hurting. But all that being said, take care of your bodies, folks. Take care of your mind, folks. Again, we only get one lap around this thing. So we got to do it right because you don't want to be up there in old age, let the latter parts of your life and regretting, man, I should have did this. I should have did that. I should have, took care of my body a little bit better. But, sometimes you have to do what you have to do in order to keep the lights on, keep the water running, and keep the fuel in the vehicle. You know what I mean? All right. So we got a great show today for Wayback Wednesday. As I talked about yesterday, I'm going to talk about a story. Well, I'm going to tell a story about me and one of my good friends. Been knowing this cat since like 1995, 94. And he's a retired Marine Master Sergeant. We called him Slinky. Tall, skinny cat, man. He's also from Detroit, from the east side. So I'm going to tell that story on how me and him was going to a club. This was pre-married, Damon. I was single. But how me and him was going to a club in Mexico. And we're trying to break our necks to get down to Mexico because the Marine base in Yuma was only like 20-something miles away from Mexico. So we trying to get down there and car had vehicle issues and so on and so forth. So I go into that story. But again, stay tuned, stay locked. Please go ahead and subscribe. You see it, see the subscribe, see the bell icon, click it, and then you get notified on all the brand new videos, the brand new content. I'm also on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, right? Click this website down here, the Trust and Believe nomadcast.buzzsprout.com. You can access everything for all the audio folks, the Apples, the Google Podcast, the Amazon Podcast, the iHeartRadios, the Spotifys, all your favorite podcast platforms. I'm on there. I'm on everywhere. I'm on YouTube, all places. You can find me. You can find me anywhere. All right, y'all, stay tuned. Wayback Wednesday. Trust and believe. Everybody, welcome back to Wayback Wednesday here on the Trust and Believe Nomad Cast. All right, so I'm going to tell the story today about me and my good friend Slinky driving from Yuma, Arizona, Marine Corps Air Station, Yuma, Arizona, to Mexico. At least we thought. Car ended up catching on fire, burning up. We walked back, blisters, so on and so forth. So let me get started. So this had to be the fall of 1995, right? So we used to always go to these clubs when we were stationed in the Marines. This is before I got married. We used to go to the E Club that was on base. Used to go to another E Club that was on the Navy base in El Centro. And then in Mexico, we used to go to a club in Los Algodones, one in San Luis, Mexico, and one in Calexico. This particular night, we was going to a club in San Luis. Now, again, this is before I got married. I was single, so on and so forth. Just want to put that out there. And so that particular day, Slinky and my man D-Bat, who's he's a retired Marine gunnery sergeant. I'm leaving their government names out. We was like, let's go to the club tonight. Let's go to the club tonight. So I'm like, okay, bet. So at the last minute, D-Bat was like, nah, I'm not going to go. I'm going to chill with my girl. And if he knew what we was getting ready to get into that night, he probably wouldn't have wanted to go anyway, because he would have had some issues with his feet as well, like we did. But I'll talk about that. And so I was like, you know what? Let's go to the mall. Let's go get fresh. Let's go get some gym shoes, get a fresh outfit. You know what I'm saying? And let's go ahead and go. So we go to the mall, that little hole in the wall mall in Yuma, Arizona. And we come back, iron, change, clean, all that stuff, right? So this is probably about 10:30, probably going on 11 o'clock. So it was a Chevron right across the street from the Marine base. We go there, we get some Gatorade or something, just something for the drive. Because this only like, where we was going was like 22 miles, 25 miles or something like that. And Slinky had he loved old school cars. So he had like a 1983 Cadillac Eldorado, the short one. So we driving. Now, a week before that, Slinky had issues with the Cadillac. He always had issues with this Cadillac. And I was very apprehensive, but I should have been like, you know what? You got issues with this car, man. Do we really want to drive down to Mexico? So I'm like, bump it. Forget it. Let's go. I didn't care. Right, young cat. So we driving. We finally get on the little freeway. And I want to say it was 95. Not to be confused with the 95 on the East Coast. This is the one in Yuma going to Dago, Mexico. And I think it was 95. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was 95. So we driving. So it's like about 11:10, almost 11:30. Nice, cool night in Yuma, Arizona. We getting ready to go to the club, man. We chilling. We fresh. We smell good and all that, right? So he driving. I'm in the passenger seat. And so we rolling. We listen to Wu-Tang. We listen to Redman. All these mid-90s, the golden era of hip-hop, right? So we rolling. And, I'm not paying any attention, man. I'm just ready to go to the club. And Slinky was like, dog, you smell something? So I'm like, nah, man. Keep going. Keep going. We trying to get to the club, man. Keep going. He was like, yo, DA, I smell something, man. Something ain't smelling good. So I'm like, dang, gosh, dog, man. So I turned on, hit the little ceiling. You know how they used to have the ceiling lights, right? I hit the button. Soon as that light came on, all I saw was freaking smoke. I could not even see Slinky. I didn't even smell smoke. Was weird about it. I'm like, pull to the side, man. Pull to the side. So he pulled to the side. As soon as we get out the car, open up the hood, you could see smoke inside the freaking hood. And I'm like, well, gosh, dog, man, I just had a freaking Regal that burnt up like 2 months ago. Now your car about to freaking catch on fire? Oh, my gosh. What the frick is the year 1995 doing to me? Right? So he had like a little small fire extinguisher. So we put the fire out, but we couldn't drive anywhere. The car wouldn't even freaking turn on. He'd go try to crank it up like the old folks say. And all you heard was string. So I'm like, bump it. Now at this time, it's like 11:45. We are well away from the Marine base. I'm talking like 20 something miles away. Now, I have one of them old school polo rugby shirts that we used to wear in the 90s. And I have some baggy polo jeans. And I have some freaking Nautica boots, some old school ones with the buckle that will go across the instep of your foot, right? Boots that are made for chilling, going to a club, a gatherings, not made for freaking walking. So we out there, and the only people that's on the freaking freeway at this time of night are the farmers that had like hay in the back of flatbed double trailers. They just going back and forth, right? They ain't picking us up. We got our freaking thumbs out. Ain't nobody, they just driving. No one's paying attention, right? So I'm like, dang. I'm like, yo, man, it's like freaking midnight right now. We still got to get back to base. So this was Saturday turning into Sunday morning. So I'm like, man, I think we're going to have to walk. Now, we've been drinking, right? We had some water and some Gatorade, but it's starting to get freaking hot outside. Not like 90-degree hot, but it's a cool night, but it's still kind of hot. And I got all this mess on. So I'm like, yo, I think we're going to have to walk. So we start freaking walking on the freaking interstate, right? Kid you not. So we walking back the opposite way, going back to freaking Yuma. This walk started exactly at freaking midnight, ladies and gentlemen. We freaking walking. I mean, we just talking, we walking. Man, I knew I shouldn't have went to the club. We shouldn't have gone, man. Your car is always messing up. And he like, well, dang, DA, at least I got a freaking car. I'm like, yeah, but your car about to catch on fire. I mean, we just going back and forth with each other. And it's like, you know what? Forget it, man. We in this together. Let's freaking roll. So we still trying to stick our thumbs out. Ain't nobody freaking paying us no mind. And the little people that are driving on the freeway, they just blowing their horns. You know, not even caring. So we walking. Now it's probably about 1 o'clock in the morning. We've been walking for an hour. And my feet are freaking hurting. I got these Nautica boots on. His feet freaking hurting because he had like these Nike, like almost like Van karate shoe like Nikes that he used to wear. But we're wearing clothes that's not healthy for walking. We're wearing baggy jeans, which is typical 90s fashion. So we walking. So I don't know. This is the first time I ever saw what I thought was a lake of water. I knew there was no lake in the middle of the freeway. But for some reason, my mind started playing tricks on me, like the Ghetto Boys used to say. And I saw there's a mirage, and I saw a lake. I started getting freaking thirsty. So I'm like, yo, it's a body of water down there. Let's go. So we walk into it, and there was no freaking lake. It was a freaking rest area. And I'm like, man, this is the first time I ever seen a mirage, and I'm hallucinating because I never thought I thought that was all just a myth. It was factual that night, ladies and gentlemen. So we go to a freaking rest area. I was like, man, we got to get some freaking water. So we had like singles on us and everything. We go to the vending machine. I'm pressing buttons. The vending machine take my freaking dollars. They take his coins. Ain't nothing coming out the vending machines. The vending machines are like freaking crazy dusty because this is like Yuma, Arizona. You're in the freaking desert, right? So I'm like, nothing's freaking working. I'm like, yo, let's stop putting our money in this freaking thing. It's not working. We just going to have to keep walking. So we walked and we seen like a family that was, you could tell that's like on a road trip. So we approached them and told them the situation. They was kind of like, they just got in the car and just took off. So I'm like, dang. We kept walking. So this was like probably about 1 o'clock, start going to 2. 2 became 3. It's 3 o'clock in the freaking morning. We still walking 20 miles back to the Marine base, right? We got a long way to go and ain't nobody freaking helping us. So you know how you have these, like anywhere you go, it's like towers and they have the cables that connect the towers, almost like electrical towers. And there was like these huge towers you see over the freeway. So we walked up under the freeway and it was so quiet on the interstate because it was not a lot of traffic. I could hear the voltage going through the freaking wires. It was like zin, 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 zin. You can hear the voltage. And I'm like, man, if one of these things snap, we're freaking done. Because you're talking probably about hundreds of thousands of freaking voltage going through these freaking wires because they're powering up the city. And I think the city that was between Yuma and Mexico, I want to say it was Somerton. I think that's what it was. So I think these power lines, I think they powered Somerton, probably Yuma, probably parts of Mexico. And so we're still walking. Now, this is like 3 going to 4 in the morning, and we're walking. So we finally stopped. I said, man, we got to stop. We took periodic breaks in between, and we're just sitting there. And I'm like, man, why the frick did we go to this freaking, why are we trying to go to this club? We got to change our life, man. We never changed our life. We kept doing this stuff. So we get back to walking. We have had nothing to drink since like 1 that morning. We have nothing to eat since like 1 that morning. We have had nothing. We are dehydrated. We're sweaty. We're wearing all these baggy freaking mid-90s club type hip hop clothes. I'm wearing freaking Nautica boots. My feet are freaking hurting. His feet is freaking hurting. He got baggy clothes on. So now it's starting to probably about like 5:30 or so. We see the sun come up, right? Birds are flying. You know, people still on the freeway and they're not even freaking looking at us. We're still walking. So finally we come up to a RV park, right? And I was like, man, I know they don't want, no one wants to see two black dudes right now that's mad dusty because the trucks that was hauling the hay, once they pass us, all that dirt and that dust will fly on. I mean, we look freaking filthy. We look disgusting. And we've been walking for almost 6 hours on a freaking freeway, right? So you imagine how we were feeling, hurting. Now, one thing I'm thankful that we were in great shape because we were Marines, but God dog, man, the body can only take so much. And so we finally make it to a trailer park, and there was I seen like back then they used to have decals on the car, but they still do, and it was a Master Gunnery Sergeant logo rank on the car. So I'm like, one of these guys someone has to be a retired Marine because I see a Master Guns freaking rank on the windshield. So it just so happened it was a couple, like a senior citizen couple came out. And I said, sir, ma'am, I said, sorry to bother you guys. We're not trying to harm you guys or anything. We're active duty Marines. We was trying to drive to Mexico to go to the club last night. Our car broke down close to Mexico. We've been walking since midnight. This is like 6 in the morning. We've been walking since midnight. Can you please give us a ride to base? Thank God. So it was so happened that they was getting ready to go on base anyway. This was Sunday. They was getting ready to go on base. He's like, oh, come on, Semper Fi, Devil Dogs. Let's get in. He verified our ID to make sure we wasn't freaking lying. But he's like, come on in, Devil Dogs, get in. So we get in the car. He said, can I get you guys something to drink? I said, sir, if we can get some water. So he brought us out 2 big bottles of Gatorade, 2 for Slinky and 2 for me. Do you know we freaking chugged them things? And he was like, so tell me the story while we driving back to Yuma. He was like, I was like, we was going to this club in San Luis and my friend's car broke down. And he had issues before and all that. I said, the car broke down and we started walking at midnight and here it is 6 in the morning. Through the grace of God, we see you guys. So he thought the story was funny because, you know, back in them days, Marines did anything. So anytime you told a story, they got a better story. Then the next person got an even better story. So he was telling us the story about him in the Philippines and, you know, when the Marines were in the Philippines and all this crazy stuff that I'm not going to go into on here. But, you know, if you know the history of the Marine Corps, thumbs up, right? And so, well, that's any military for that matter. And so him and his wife, they driving us back, they go on base. He's like, where you guys live at? I said, we live at, because we went through the gate and everything. I said, we live at building 720. I think that was the number of the barracks, 720. I said, just drop us off here. I said, appreciate it. I said, do we owe you anything? He said, no, man, you guys are good. Semper Fi. So I get to the barracks. Slinky go to his room. I go to my room. I'm peeling these clothes off me. I mean, they've been on my body pretty much all night and day throughout the morning. I'm taking all these clothes off, and my roommate, which was D-Bat, he was like, dang, dude, you stink. I'm like, well, you will stink freaking too if you've been walking on the freaking freeway since midnight, right? So don't tell me I freaking stink. I'm just going off on this guy, and this cat like, dang, dude, my bad. So he went back to sleep. So I'm peeling all this stuff off. My feet are freaking bleeding. I barely can get my boots off my feet. Blisters is huge. Feet are bleeding. I mean, it just looked freaking disgusting. So I got in the shower and my feet is hurting. I barely can stand. I mean, I'm messed up right now. So I finally get myself together, I get clean. And then, you know, we didn't have cell phones back then. So in order to use the phone, we had to go to the duty hut where the duty NCO was at. So I said, I need to call my squad leader because I'm not going to be able to make it to work tomorrow. This is like Sunday morning. So I called. I said, hey, Sergeant Cato, this is Lance Corporal Anderson. Say, I'm calling you. He said, don't tell me you got in trouble last night. I said, well, I ain't getting in trouble, but, you know, you probably going to trip out when I tell you this story. So I told him the story. He said, well, me and my wife, we had on base right now at the chapel. He said, once we get done, I come by the barracks and see you. So probably about an hour later, so he came to the barracks, and he was like, dude, what the F are you doing? So, so I told him the story and everything, and he was, I got to tell Gunny. So he get on the phone, he called Gunny. Then Gunny come freaking see me. And he was like, dude, your feet. So it just so happened a couple of doors down, because we shared barracks with the Navy as well, because we had some Navy, of course, stationed on Marine base. So one of our good friends, he was a corpsman in the Navy, which is like a medic in the Navy. They got him down there, and he administered some first aid on my feet and everything, and they was feeling a little bit better, but I still needed to go to sick call the next day. Well, they didn't call it sick call in the Marine Corps; they called it sick bay. And so Gunny was like, dude, he said, don't even come to work tomorrow. Just call me in the morning. Let me know you're live. I'll see you Tuesday, because you're not gonna be able to move around. And this is back in the day when we had the black leather boots. So there's no way I was going to be able to put my foot in the boot. He said, I'll see you Tuesday, right? He said, just come in Tuesday afternoon. So I'm like, all right, Gunny, appreciate it. But these cats just laughing at me. Everything was so freaking funny. And I ended up going to sick bay. And, they took care of my feet. The blisters went down. But I learned a valuable lesson that night, because I was already kind of apprehensive about going to the club, because I kind of started getting the club thing out of my system, right? And Slinky's cars, man, I trusted Slinky. I never trusted his cars. And that car, that Eldorado, that Cadillac Eldorado, the 83 Cadillac Eldorado, it always had issues. And, we driving this car from Yuma, Arizona to the freaking club, thinking, we're going to be at the club, and the car break down. I should have, just stuck with my intuition, say, you know what? Let's just chill, man. Let's go play some Madden or do something. Ain't no use of us driving. Man, I tell you, that year 1995, I learned some valuable lessons, man. That's why I always go back to the Marine Corps times, because I learned so much. But we trooped it, man. Slinky was a good dude, man. He's a retired master sergeant. He's enjoying life, married and everything. So is D-Bat. Them guys, they chilling. So we all retired, which is great. I left the Marines to go to the Army, but we all retired. Still talk to this day, so no issues with that. And but again, I learned some valuable lessons. My feet, I'm telling you, man, I wish I had pictures of that, because my feet was freaking blisters. I mean, just ew. And I thank God that I had great leadership, because even when I went back to work that Tuesday, like Gunny told me, as soon as I walk in there, everybody laughing. Yo, you went to Mexico and you got this done, and I heard y'all had to walk all the way from Arizona to freaking, just typical stuff, man. But it was all good, man. They took care of me, so everything was great. All right. So I appreciate that. That was a short Wayback Wednesday story, talking about how me and my good friend walked from, I don't know how many miles we were away from Mexico, but we walked essentially 20-something miles from midnight, Saturday going into Sunday, midnight to 06 that morning. And it was a retired master gunnery sergeant that picked us up and drove us to base. And the rest is history. So I thank God that we were in great physical condition, right? Because we probably, if I try to do that right now, man, I'd be in the world of hurt. But again, appreciate you guys listening to the story. Hope you got something out of it. It was a life lesson. Follow your intuition. Follow your intuition. I should have had my butt in the barracks just chilling, right? So all good. The year 1995. What a year, what a year, what a year. Again, appreciate it. Tomorrow for Sneaker Stories on the Thursday, I'm going to tell the story about some Air Maxes that my mother didn't buy me, and that fueled my desire, fueled my hunger, it fueled my appetite to not ever ask for anybody for anything. Go get it myself, right? Here I am today. So I appreciate it, guys. Stay tuned, stay locked. Thank you. Subscribe, follow, download, all the et ceteras. You are tuned into the Trust and Believe Nomad Cast. This has been a segment of Wayback Wednesday, where I told a story about walking from close to Mexico all the way back to Yuma, Arizona for 6 hours wearing 1990s hip hop attire, right? Tomorrow is Sneaker Stories on the Thursday. Stay tuned, stay locked. Have a great day, y'all. And I'll tell y'all about my VA appointment tomorrow, since I got my heel appointment. I'll back brief you guys on that as well. All right. Stay tuned. See y'all tomorrow. Trust and believe.